Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our OSINT series, where we're going from absolute beginner to advanced. Today's episode is going to be packed with some really useful OSINT techniques that can make your searches much more precise and help you uncover information that you might otherwise miss. But before we continue, there's one important thing. If you haven't watched episode 1 and episode 2, I strongly recommend watching them first. We covered the fundamentals of OSINT and the basics of search engine dorking there, and today's episode builds directly on those concepts. So if you're ready, let's continue our journey from beginner to advanced. Let's get started. As I explained in the previous episode, we're continuing with search engine dorking because there are still many useful operators left to explore. So let's continue from where we stopped. Our next operator is the asterisk operator. Asterisk operator, asterisk. The asterisk operator is useful when you don't know the complete information you're searching for. For example, imagine you're looking for a tool called Sentinel Octopus, but you only remember the word Sentinel and you're not completely sure about the rest of the name. In that situation, you can use an asterisk as a wildcard. Sentinel space asterisk tool. The asterisk acts as a wildcard, allowing the search engine to match variations where something appears between the words. This can be useful when you're missing a word or part of a phrase and want the search engine to help you discover possible variations. You can apply the same idea when searching for information related to a target. Range operator. The next dork is the range operator. This can be useful when you want to search within a particular numerical range, especially when you're dealing with information where the exact number is unknown, but you know the approximate range. For example, Sentinel Octopus 1.30 comments. Here, the 1.30 represents a numerical range. The idea is to tell the search engine that you're interested in values between 1 and 30.
Range searches can be useful when you're investigating dates, numbers, prices, counts, or other information where you know the approximate range but not the exact value. One important thing to remember is that search engines don't always interpret every operator in exactly the same way. Their syntax and indexing behavior can change over time. So when performing OSINT research, don't depend on only one search engine. Try different search engines, because one search engine may have indexed information that another one hasn't. Related operator. Next, we have the related operator. This can be useful when you're trying to discover websites or online resources that are related to a particular domain. For example, related neurodev.netlify.app. The idea behind this operator is to ask the search engine to find websites that it considers related to the specified domain. This can be useful during OSINT investigations when you're trying to expand your research beyond a single website and discover potentially related online resources. However, remember that the results depend on the search engine's own understanding and indexing. It doesn't guarantee that every connection to the target will be discovered. So treat the results as leads for further investigation, not as a complete list of the target's connections. Google search tools. Now let's move to another very useful feature that is built directly into Google search, the search tools. Sometimes you may be investigating an old post, an event, a news story, or information related to a specific year. If you already know the approximate date or year, Google search filters can help you narrow down the results. For example, instead of manually going through thousands of search results, you can use the date-related search tools to focus your search on a specific time period. This is particularly useful in OSINT because time is often an important piece of the puzzle.
If you're investigating an old event or trying to locate information published during a particular year, filtering the results by date can significantly reduce search noise. So don't just search for keywords. Also think about when the information was published. And this is where OSINT becomes interesting. We're not simply searching for information. We're learning how to ask better questions to search engines, reduce irrelevant results, and connect small pieces of publicly available information. And we still have several powerful techniques left to explore. Advanced OSINT search techniques. Now let's move on to some more advanced search techniques.
The next technique is data injection into search URLs. This can be useful when we're working with search engine date filters and want more control over the date range. Normally, when we use a search engine's built-in tools to manually change the date range, the interface may not always give us the exact range or behavior we're looking for. In situations like this, some search engines expose additional parameters through the search URL that can be modified directly. One example is and tab equals cdr:1, comma cdmin:1/1/01. The idea is to append the parameter to the end of an existing search URL. Let's break it down. Tab equals cdr:1. This parameter is related to the search engine's custom date range mode. Then cdmin:1/1/01
defines the minimum date for the search range. Depending on the search engine and its current implementation, you may also be able to specify a maximum date using the corresponding parameter. The important point here is that these URL parameters are implementation specific. Search engines can change or remove them at any time, so don't assume that a particular parameter will always work. Custom Search Engine, CSE. Next, we have another very powerful technique, custom search engines, or CSE. The basic idea is simple. Instead of searching the entire web, you can create a custom search engine that focuses on the websites you specify. This can be extremely useful in OSINT when you repeatedly investigate a particular set of websites. For example, imagine you want your search engine to search only specific social media platforms, news websites, or other public sources. You can add those target domains to your custom search configuration, and your searches can then be restricted to those sites. To create a Google Programmable Search Engine, open the Google Programmable Search Engine website and start the setup process. You'll be asked to give your search engine a name. Enter any suitable name. Then add the websites or domains that you want your custom search engine to cover. For example, you could add a specific website or domain that you regularly use during your OSINT research. After completing the setup, your custom search engine is ready. Now, whenever you perform a search through it, the search can be focused on the websites you've configured instead of searching the entire internet. This is especially useful when you have a predefined list of sources that you want to monitor or investigate. CSE parameters. There are also additional ways to customize a CSE, including refinements and URL parameters. The exact parameters and available features can change depending on Google's current CSE implementation, but the basic idea is to control how your custom search engine behaves. For example, you may come across a URL structure similar to https google.com custom cx equals your search engine ID, num equals 100, and filter equals 0. Here, cx equals your search engine ID represents the identifier of your custom search engine. The num parameter can be used to request a particular number of results where supported. And filter equals 0 can disable certain duplicate result filtering behavior in systems that support this feature. Remember, these parameters are dependent on the search service and its current implementation, so always verify how they work with the version you're using. You can also use refinements to organize your custom search engine into specific categories. For example, you could create separate refinements for social media, news websites, technical documentation, public databases, and blogs. This makes a custom search engine much more useful for structured OSINT research. Contains operator. Next, we have the contains operator. This is another search operator whose availability in... For example, contains ppt site cisco.com. The idea is to search for pages containing links or references to PowerPoint files on the specified website. This can be useful when you're looking for publicly indexed presentation files or pages that reference a particular file type. However, remember that not every search engine supports the same operators. An operator that works on one search engine may simply be ignored by another. That's why an OSINT investigator should always test the query and verify the results, instead of assuming that every dork works universally. Link domain operator. The next operator is link domain neurodev.netlify.app.
The idea behind this type of query is to discover pages that contain links related to the specified domain. This can help during reconnaissance by showing you pages that reference a particular website or domain. However, search engine support for link domain can vary, and some modern search engines may not support it in the same way older search systems did. So again, treat the results as investigation leads, not as a complete map of every link connected to the target. And this is exactly why learning multiple search techniques is important in OSINT. If one operator doesn't work, you can combine other operators and approaches to reach the same investigative goal. Archives and historical OSINT. Now, let's move on to another extremely important OSINT technique, archiving. Archiving is a fundamental technique in OSINT because it allows investigators to look at information that may have changed, disappeared, or been removed from the live internet.
For example, a website may look completely different today than it did 5 years ago. A social media post may have been deleted, a web page may have been updated, or an important piece of information may no longer be publicly visible. In these situations, archived copies can become extremely valuable for historical research. Some commonly used web archiving services include archive.is, archive.today, and archive.org. These services can contain snapshots or archived versions of publicly accessible web pages. However, keep in mind that archives don't necessarily contain every web page or every version of a page. Availability depends on whether the page was crawled or saved by the service. Historical evidence through search dorks. Now we're going to look at another search technique that can be useful when researching historical records and archived material. For example, site:"newspaperarchive.com. This archive is hosted by create free account." The idea behind this query is to search for pages on a specific archive-related website containing particular phrases. Some newspaper and historical archive services require paid subscriptions, while certain pages or records may be publicly accessible. Search queries like this can help you identify publicly indexed pages and legitimately accessible resources. However, it's important to understand that a search query should not be used to bypass a paid subscription, authentication system, or access restriction. If a historical archive requires a subscription, use the service through its official access options, or look for an alternative publicly available source. The goal of OSINT is to find information that is publicly and legitimately accessible, not to bypass access controls. Google Advanced Search. The next tool is Google Advanced Search. This is particularly useful for people who are new to Dorking or don't want to manually remember every search operator. Instead of writing advanced operators yourself, the interface allows you to fill in forms and complete complex searches more intuitively.
You can enter different search conditions and build a more refined search. For example, you can specify exact words or phrases, words you want to exclude, specific websites or domains, language, region, file type, and date-related filters. This makes advanced searching much easier for beginners. However, once you become comfortable with search operators, manually constructing dorks gives you much more flexibility and control. You can access Google Advanced Search here. And now, Google Patents. The next tool is Google Patents. Google Patents can be extremely useful when you're researching the history of technologies, inventions, organizations, or individuals associated with patents. You can search through patent records and investigate information such as inventors, assignees and organizations, patent filings, publication dates, patent documents, references, and related patents. This can sometimes provide valuable historical context about a person, company, technology, or organization. You can access it here. And that's it for today's episode. We've covered several useful techniques and tools for finding historical and archived information, which can be extremely valuable during OSINT investigations. But we're not done yet. Starting from the next episode, we're going to move into another huge part of OSINT: social network intelligence. We'll start exploring how publicly available information across social platforms can be discovered, connected, and analyzed during an investigation. So if you found this episode useful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop your questions, doubts, or suggestions in the comments. I'll see you in the next episode, where we start our journey into social network OSINT.